Well, welcome everyone to the February Richfield Sustainability Commission, and a very special welcome to all of our new commissioners. This is your first official meeting, so that's very exciting. We'll be having some introductions a little later on, but first we're going to start with approval of the minutes from last month and the agenda for tonight. And then we'll do public comments, and then we'll get to introductions. So just for all the new commissioners, so that you know, when we do approval of the minutes and agenda, Rachel shares it on the screen. You also have it in your email if you'd like to pull it up and look at it by yourself. And I'll call for a motion to approve the minutes and the agenda, and someone can make a motion, and then we'll ask for a second, and then we'll just do a round of all in favor, raise your hand. So that is generally the order of business here at the beginning. So if everyone's had a chance to take a look at our minutes and the agenda, do we have a motion to approve the minutes and the agenda?
I'll move to approve the agenda and the minutes.
Thank you, Adam. Do we have a second?
This is Jeremy. I'll second that.
Thanks, Jeremy. And all in favor, you can just raise your hand and say aye. All in favor. Any opposed? Hearing none, the minutes and agenda are approved. And we'll go ahead and do public comments. Rachel, I think you might have one. Do you have a public comment?
I do, but Ava's here, so it will be up to her if she'd like to give her own public comment or if she'd like you to read it.
Ava, would you like to deliver your comment to yourself?
Hi, everybody. Yeah, I'll do that. I did send in to Rachel, and since that time, there's been debate on our Utley site. And I spoke with, I'm going to preface it and then I'll read it. I spoke with somebody at Hennepin County also who says this debate is going on there as well. So it has to do with native trees versus cultivars. And I'm just okay, so Rachel, do I have to do this word for word? I mean, I have it in front of me.
No.
Okay.
You can do whatever you like. If you want to read exactly what you sent, that's totally fine. If you want to go off script, it's your public comment. So there's no,
okay.
You have like 3 minutes, you know, obviously if you go on and on, we'll cut you, but that's it.
No, I just wanted to know if it had to be official. No. So I pulled up the tree list that you guys talked about last week or last meeting. After reading some people talking on the Richfield Facebook page about which tree they were going to choose. And so many cultivars species that weren't native, like there's a handful of native species. But so many of them are, I haven't researched every list tree on that list. But for me, I don't know if that dialogue's happening. And so my public comment is, I hope that dialogue is happening, that the cultivars versus native trees and the benefit to habitat, not just beauty of flowers. And beauty of flowers, I noticed a lot of them were like flowering, spring flowering trees. That's why I said that. Species and pollinators evolve together, and so they are, the pollinators need the species they grew up with, evolved with. And a native tree can host hundreds more species than a cultivar or a ornamental tree. I did include a bunch of slides from webinars that I've done not that I've done, but that I've taken. Doug Talamy is some of the research, and I will insert here, this is the discussion that happened. Some of his research showed that cultivars, if they're aligned with native species, really don't have a huge effect on the population of pollinators that can use them, unless the leaf color changes or the blossom changes in a huge way. So that's the dialogue that's happening on my Facebook group, as well as Hennepin County Forestry Department. And I was talking to the Green Partners person that runs that program. I'm going to scan really fast to see if I missed anything. Keystone, I included some attachments that have to do with Keystone plants, trees, that they're the ones that if you put those in, then you're really creating a robust habitat. And it supports the most wildlife, and there's some trees listed on there, including some that would be considered understory, and I'm not seeing that dialogue either. So other cities, I've talked with the Apple Valley forester, I think. If you're just looking at the big trees, that's not giving you a full habitat as the big shade trees and then understory trees are also important. And I didn't see that discussion happening. And I think that I'm done with my time, and I think I'm done with all my points. So
Excellent. Perfect timing. Thank you, Ava.
Thanks, Ava.
you're welcome. Somebody from my group said they were going to public comment about No Mo May. Did that come in?
I did not receive any public comments besides yours. No.
Okay.
All right. Well, I guess I'll just offer a moment if any of the commissioners or staff want to respond in the moment to Ava's comment. Otherwise, it's certainly something we can circle back to at another time.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that when I did get Ava's email, I did start talking to Chris about some of this, and the dialogue that you mentioned with the county is similarly probably also happening internally. So I don't know what the best way to respond is right now, if it's just getting a more concrete response from Chris and Joe with forestry, and or if it's connecting or whatever, we'll do that. I just obviously don't have all of the ins and outs and all the information to share all of their practices, but in the brief conversation that Chris and I had, he did talk more about plant trees for natives versus cultivars versus obviously with our zone changing due to climate change as well, there's a lot more trees that are not considered native that are included on there because we're shifting to a warmer climate and things like that. So he had a bunch of stuff that kind of, it's in here, and I'll get a more polished response for this group and for Ava as well.
Mm-hmm.
Adam, did you have a response?
Well, maybe more just questions about that. I mean, I think that Ava raises a good point about, questioning what is the city doing when looking at the native plants, native tree species, and how that plays into it. I make the assumption that the city forestry department is up to speed on all that and are making decisions based on, I'm sure, too many factors that we can even comprehend sometimes, as far as the life cycle of the tree and the variety, and especially when we're talking boulevard trees versus park trees and all that. So I guess as Rachel said, just providing that maybe that information, like exactly what does the city forestry department or whatever we call it, what they do when making the decision. Because I just had a new boulevard tree. Mine died, and they put a new boulevard tree in last year. And I got the list of trees, and I was like, ginkgo, why not? Let's do that. I'll put a ginkgo tree in the front yard. So but it was just based on what was available.
That's another point. A lot of what is what is out there is what's available from nurseries. I think it might be beneficial perhaps in a future meeting to have Chris come to the meeting instead of, because we've had, I think this is at least the second meeting where we've had significant tree questions and conversations. And honestly, it might just be easier and faster to have him come and do a little presentation and Q&A with everybody here. So we can return to that as well.
Yeah, I think that'd be great.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea, Rachel. And I want to thank you, Ava, for your comment. I do think it's an important one. You know, after you brought this up, I looked at the tree list too, and I saw a Japanese tree lilac on there, which is a beautiful tree that I've liked for a long time, but it was actually just in the last few weeks, I learned that it can be invasive in some areas. And so, you know, I think this is a good conversation to be having because you know, there's a lot of non-native trees that might work in Minnesota, but you just never know. Something might actually become a problem later. So it's a good point to raise. We appreciate the comment. And as Rachel said, yeah, maybe this is a good opportunity to be bringing in some city staff to talk a little bit more about some of these issues.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. So we'll go ahead and move along. We have a pretty full agenda today, and we want to take a few minutes now to have some
Amanda
introductions.
Santuana's hand is up.
Oh, I didn't see that. Oh, go ahead.
That's okay. I just want to also, everybody has said everything I was going to say about this, so I appreciate the commission taking it seriously. I don't know the rules as yet, so since no one is here to talk about the No Mow May, is this something we can talk about, or is this something we can talk about, or we push it off to the next month? Which is fine with me. I just wanted to know.
I would say if that we have time, we can maybe add it as a discussion item, and if not, maybe it's something we note for a future discussion item.
It is
Sounds
under
good.
the brainstormed ideas, so technically it probably will come up tonight.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, Rachel, do you want to lead us in some introductions of our new commissioners?
Sure, yeah. So obviously we had a few people who were not able to make it last month, so I figured it just probably makes sense to redo introductions for everybody, especially now that we have the core group of commissioners going forward. So I think we can just do introductions of everybody on the call is totally fine with me. I will start Rachel Lindholm, Sustainability Specialist for the City of Richfield. I've been with the city officially for about 2.5 years now, I think. But did Green Corps with the city as well. So I've been in Richfield since fall of 2018. And yeah, I think, you know, pretty much you all know me and what I work on, but if you're not familiar, I do a lot, pretty much anything related to sustainability. So that includes waste, of course, trash, recycling, organics, yard waste. It also includes, or my job also works around energy efficiency, energy burden, sustainable building practices, renewable energy that we have municipally, parks practices, you know, pretty much anything that's green or environmental. So my work plan is widespread, and as such, the Sustainability Commission, the topics that the commission covers are also widespread. If you have any questions at any time, you all have my email address, and please feel free to reach out. Otherwise, I think we can start with Amanda and Jeremy as the elected officials, I guess. That's not true. Ben's the elected official as the chair, and
The elders, we decided we are.
The previous commissioners.
Commission elders.
And then we can go to new commissioners and go from there. If you just want to do a brief introduction, how long you've been in Richfield, why you wanted to join the commission, I guess, something like that. That'd be great.
Great. So hi, my name is Amanda Keeper. I'm the chair of this commission. I've been in Richfield for about 5 years now. And, you know, I joined the Sustainability Commission because I really have a strong interest in sustainability issues. In my day job, I work in natural resources and forest management and conservation. So sort of part of part of my worldview there. And one of the things that I thought maybe I could bring to the Sustainability Commission. And I just found through working with the city of Richfield on other sustainability topics in the past before the commission, namely the organics task force that we had, and through involvement with the county in the the Hennepin County Master Recycler Composter Program, that there was just a lot of great opportunities to get involved at the local level on some of these issues. And so, yeah, I think it's an exciting time to be working on this, and that's why I joined the commission. Jeremy, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. Thank you, Amanda. And sorry my video is not working this evening, but I'm Jeremy Bartles, and I've been a resident of Richfield for almost 7 years. I think the spring will be 7 years. Very excited to live over on the east side of Richfield. And I actually met Amanda, well, it feels like years ago, like maybe 6 years ago, in the Master Recycling Composter program through Hennepin County. And then, you know, our principles aligned at that point when we met each other and realized we're both from Richfield. And I like to think myself as progressive, and so I'd like to see these changes in our city, you know, so future generations can, you know, enjoy the sort of resources that we have currently. And so it's, for me, it's very enjoyable and it's very rewarding to get involved locally. And so Amanda and I helped sort of form the Organics Task Force, which kind of morphed into the Sustainability Commission. So I'm very excited to be able to kind of see this transition and the development and the growth and the interest from other residents. And so we're not alone. There's a lot of people out there that you know, have these sort of views and principles of sustainability, and it's great to be on this commission to be able to bring that forth to the city and to the residents. Yeah, and I am, thank you, Rachel, I'm the vice chair of this commission at the moment, so.
All right. Well, what's the easiest thing do you think, Amanda? Should we just call the rest of everybody?
Yeah, why don't you just do alphabetical order or
Sure.
whatever's
Adam,
on your
do you want to start?
screen?
Sure. I'm Adam Burnside. It's my first year on this commission. I just started. 6-year resident as of this month in Richfield. Interested in government. I used to be a high school government social studies teacher, so always involved in the process and being part of the process, working with nonprofits. Sustainability is one of the things that I do have an interest in, recycling, taking care of the environment. You know, pollinators and the organic recycling has been just one of the greatest things I think that Richfield has gotten started, and the county has got going, and Richfield kind of jumped in with both feet. And I'm just, even since the last meeting where I mentioned I'm hoping to see more organic carts on my street, I'm starting to see more. So Rachel, I don't know if more people are just signing up and realizing if they're going to pay for it, they might as well do it, right?
Yeah.
But it's been fabulous. So I'm really excited for the work that this commission does, and honored to be part of it.
Thanks. Amy?
Hi, everybody. My name's Amy Utley. I have been in Richfield a really long time. I moved here from Tennessee 24 years ago and have never lived anywhere but Richfield, so I love it, obviously. I actually work for Tangleton Gardens, and it's a very sustainable front company. And I really just decided it was about time that I got more involved with the city. You know, I do believe that our earth is not going to be this unending, you know, giver. So we do have to do our part. So this just kind of seemed to align with the values that I share at work and my love of Richfield. So that's what brought me here.
Thanks, Amy. I'm just going to do commissioners, and then we can do other introductions as well. Craig?
Hi, I'm Craig Heinen. This is also my first year on the commission as well. I've been in Richfield for about 6 years. I grew up in Bloomington, but lived in Wisconsin and North Carolina, and then came back home. My wife and I engage with a lot of sustainability at home. Like, we have ducks, do solar panels, electric vehicles, vermicomposting, so a bunch of fun stuff. I teach a class on climate change too. And so this is just another way for me to kind of get engaged. I haven't done much with, local government before, and I thought it'd be a lot of fun to get engaged with something like this.
Thanks, Craig. Logan?
Hello, everyone. I'm Logan Tyne. I've lived in Richfield coming up now on 4 years. I had always been and I'm very passionate about social justice issues, specifically around the environment and sustainability. And over the past few years, I've been serving on a different commission. And so while I was in my term with that particular commission, the Sustainability Commission kind of got spun up, and thought, oh gosh, it'd be really great to be a part of that. And so as my term ended on the Friendship City Commission, made the jump over here. So excited to be here and partnering and working with everyone over here to see what we can do. So thanks.
Thanks, Logan. And Santana?
Hi, this is Santhana. I've been living here for a little over 2 years, and this is my first year also. I've done a tremendous amount of community organizing, not on social justice issues related to healthcare, peace, and sustainability is something I've personally gotten a lot involved in terms of trying to lead like a zero waste lifestyle, committing my garden to a pollinator type of garden, and just reading up a lot on it that has made me realize that I have a lot of skills and that this would be a good place to perhaps bring my skills and join with other people who are interested in it to locally make a really big difference. My other side thing would be is I understand the demographics of Richfield is actually very, very mixed. And to see what can we do to bring people from other communities involved. And then, of course, we have a really thriving school system, and the younger we start, the better the impact is. So is there an option in this commission to really reach out to the young people of Richfield to say, get involved, learn, understand what sustainability is about, and get involved? That's it. It's nice to meet everyone.
Thank you. All right. And then in the interest of time, we will have Ben and Jenna as our liaisons. And then as the other items come up, I'm sure the other attendees will be able to talk as well. So Ben, would you like to start?
Yeah, my name is Ben Whalen. I'm on Richfield City Council representing Ward 3, so the east side of Richfield. And I'm just really excited that this commission exists, continues to thrive and to grow. And it's one of my goals in the upcoming strategic planning process, and just more broadly to continue having sustainability be more central to everything we do as a city. That no other amount of planning and work is going to matter if humans are extinct in 50 years. So yeah, excited to be in this important work with you all.
Thanks, Ben. Jenna?
Hello, everyone. Jenna Hansen. I am part of the Community Services Commission and the liaison to the Sustainability Commission. So for the new people, what that means is I attend your meetings, take notes, and then share those at the Community Services Commission meetings. And I also share information that's shared at our meeting at this meeting at the end of the day. And this is my second year on that commission and also as a liaison here. So I'm excited to meet the new people and to be with you all again. And why I wanted to be the liaison is because sustainability is something that is very important to my personal life, and I'm looking for more ways to grow that work that I do beyond just my home. So hello.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. So just for the new commissioners, if you're not familiar, our other attendees are from the League of Women Voters. That is an item on our agenda, but in the interest of time, we're going to talk to them when we get later. So Amanda, you're back to you.
Yeah, well, thank you everybody, and welcome again to all of our new commissioners. It's exciting to be kicking off with a new group. And just to plant the seed early, we do have an action item later in the evening to elect a new secretary. So maybe thinking of that between now and the next half hour or so. Rachel is going to give us a couple of staff reports about organized collection and partners in energy.
Yeah, so I'm going to power through these mostly because there's not a ton to update on, and also because we're a little behind. Organized collection is still going, pretty well as it was last month. We are through with our score reporting, which is what we do for the county to report the tonnage of recycling and organics that is collected in the previous year. Obviously, since we only started organized collection in October, our reporting is a little off, especially when it comes to organics, as we only have 3 months worth of data. If you are all interested, it's a pretty long report, but I'm more than happy to share the data. I think we are in the past 3 months, I don't have it in front of me, but I think for the October, November, and December, we were around 40 tons of organics. But I can get the exact number if anyone's interested. Recycling is a little harder to report because there's all the commodities and it's a little different. So anyway, it's exciting. We're done with that. We are still working with Hennepin County on the organics mailer. We're still in the drafting process, and they are sending us back our revised draft. So once we have that, we'll be able to share it with you all. And that will then be sent out to residents this spring. And yeah, I think the compostable bag distribution is going well, along with the countertop containers. Those are available at, the containers are available at Public Works. Bags are available at both the community center and Public Works. Residents can pick them up. I believe the community center is 9 to 4:30 and Public Works is 8:30 to 4:30. We're also doing some weekend events like at the winter market and things like that to try and obviously be more accessible than during the workday. That being said, residents are allowed to pick up for neighbors, friends, family members. We take down addresses, so if someone's picking up for someone else, we make a note of that. And yeah, if you have any other questions, please let me know. But that seems to be going really well, and I'm excited to help out in this way. Hopefully it'll help residents know that they're using good bags, BPI certified bags, and B, like we said in the Facebook post and everything, it helps alleviate some of the costs too. So if you have any feedback on that, or if you haven't gotten your bags, just let me know. If you're not signed up for the program, you should do that. You can talk to me or your hauler directly, and we can help you out with that. I think that's mostly it for organized collection right now. Yeah.
I just wish I would have known that there were 3 bags were coming before I bought a year's supply myself. So
don't worry, Adam. You can still pick up your bags if you go through yours quickly. This isn't going anywhere anytime soon, and we expect it to be an annual program. So just don't buy any more supplies.
When I get through my 6 boxes, I'll be coming by.
All right, sounds good. So yeah, I think that's probably it. If I think of anything else, I'll of course share it. But then with Partners in Energy, we are working on some multi-family, multi-unit building outreach for energy efficiency and energy burden. And that's going to be education for residents as well as for landlords and property owners to undertake building assessments. So that will be a direct mail campaign. We're still getting the data from the business blitz that went out, but it was so successful that they're a little behind in helping all the businesses just because they have so many to go through. And so I don't have the exact numbers of how many did lighting assessments versus other energy efficiency assessments. But once we have that, I'll share them. We have been giving out light bulb kits at City Hall. It's kind of been under the radar because they're going so fast, and so we haven't promoted it a ton. But if you've been to City Hall, you might have seen the table. We had about 200, and honestly, they might be all gone already. City Hall staff were just putting them out and they were going like crazy. So we should be getting more of those this year, and hopefully this time we can promote it more, but it'll just depend on the quantity that XL can give us. So you can try and head over to get one, but I'm not sure if we still have any. We will be giving out just LED light bulbs as well. We have single LED light bulbs next, but just not the full kits. So that also comes with information about energy assessments and especially tailored towards renters as well. So that's the pie update. We are hoping to partner with local faith organizations like House of Prayer and actually anyone else who's interested, but we've started our outreach with House of Prayer to try and share some of the residential energy efficiency information with tailored communities. So if you are a part of or know of a community group or an organization that would be interested in basically having someone come and bring information and free stuff for congregants or a garden club or whatever the case may be, just let me know and I can help connect with our partners in energy staff who are helping us out with that, and we can help residents share or save some money on energy bills, which are probably not going down. So that's an open offer. Just let me know. And I think that is most of our pie update as well.
Rachel, sorry to throw this last item on there, but last month we had a comment about Richfield potentially, or asking if Richfield would declare a climate emergency. And there were some questions related to, is this just sort of like a general show of support, or would it have any actual ramifications, policy or enforcement wise within the city? Did you have anything that you wanted to share in response to that now, or is that something that maybe we should defer to next month?
I can come back next month. Basically, I don't know if we could use the word emergency, and to get an answer for that, I would have to ask our chief of police, our city attorney, and our city manager. And so I kind of wanted to gauge from the commission if this was going to be something that they'd recommend to council, because obviously those three people have very busy schedules. And if this is something that there was kind of a little back and forth last month, and if this is something that the council doesn't want to pursue, I'd rather not try and get time with all those people in their busy schedules for something that the commission might not recommend. That being said, if it's just a declaration of a climate crisis and it's not using the actual term emergency, we would still need to talk to people, but it wouldn't be, is this a problem kind of thing. So there's nothing, with the emergencies and or declarations that other cities did in January, there is not really anything to enforce. As we looked at with the Bloomington example, they highlighted work that they're currently doing and that they will continue to be doing, but it's not like there's anybody that's going out there and it's not an enforceable declaration. It's just a declaration. We are in a climate crisis, et cetera, et cetera. Here's what Bloomington, Richfield, fill in the blank city is doing, that kind of thing. And I think that kind of gets back to the crux of the discussion last month. Is it just a declaration? Is it, is that worth staff time to do that? What would the pros and cons be? At this point, for me, I take the direction from what the commission would like to do. I mean, I can give my opinion as staff, but it's really if the commission is recommending a declaration to council or not. One of the pieces of feedback I did get from another staff member was it might be worth it to wait until after strategic planning that the city is going through to see how it lines up with those kinds of goals. But again, it's really is a commission decision if they want to recommend a declaration to council. And if so, then I would proceed with asking the questions of those three members of staff that I mentioned earlier.
Thanks for that, Rachel. I just kind of wanted to put that back on people's radar. We're going to be talking a little bit more about work planning and stuff. We've got a lot of different ideas for what the commission could be doing, but keep that one in the back of your mind if this is something that anyone's feeling particularly interested in. please contact Rachel and myself, and we can consider it for a future discussion item. Does anyone have any questions or comments related to Rachel's staff reports?
I do have some miscellaneous stuff if there are no comments on the others.
Santwana.
Again, it can be done offline in an email or something. I was just wondering if we have targets, like we are expected by the powers that be to, by the end of the year, have 100 tons of organic waste, if there is some kind of a target that is set.
Sure.
So that was my question.
Yeah, we have solid waste goals, and I can share some of those documents with commissioners as well. That's pretty much related to like organics participation. I don't think it's tonnage specifically, because we're more focused on getting people involved than we are about like obviously creating more organics. It would be great if we could reduce everything. But yeah, I'll share the solid waste goals and send around the climate action plan and everything to everyone again.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Go ahead and share your miscellaneous updates, Rachel.
All right, so thank you to Adam for pointing this out. The commissioner orientation was scheduled on the same day as our commission meeting next month. And so we are going to push the commission meeting back to 7:30 instead of 7. It's not a huge deal. Obviously, I'll also email everybody, and I'll open the meeting early, and I'll obviously be online in case the orientation gets done. The commissioner orientation is from 6 to 7:30. This was unfortunately the time that worked for our city attorney, and also I think it just was a little bit of a scheduling snafu. So no worries. We'll still have our commission meeting. It'll just be a little later. So the invite or the WebEx meeting link or whatever for the new commissioner orientation has not been sent out yet, so you're not missing anything. I talked to Kelly, the staff member in charge of that today, and she's aware. So you'll get it soon. If you don't get it, week of, then reach out. But you're all good for now. And then other miscellaneous things, I think it's probably easier for me to share these in an email, but the state has released their climate action plan framework. And I think that is obviously of interest to this group. Particularly, I do think that they are asking for feedback. Yeah, they're asking for feedback from the community, and I assume that means like the state. So I will share that link with everybody for you to look at and provide feedback if you would like. They're having a meeting on March 16th from 1 to 3 p.m. It is a Wednesday, so not sure how conducive it is to everyone's schedules, but the plan's up anyway. And then lastly, there's also a new Green Step program initiative that has been released that's called the Minnesota Sustainability Index. It is a tool that catalogs the initiatives of Minnesota government, including local, county, regional, and state agencies, and it compiles like goals and things like that. So I haven't taken a strong look at it to know how populated it is, but obviously it would be of interest to this group as well. So I'll send that along later. You all can kind of see. I'll send the Green Step information as well for our new commissioners who may or may not be familiar with Green Step cities as a framework and program that we use around the state. So just some happenings, I guess, but that was all the random stuff.
Thanks, Rachel. If anybody has any questions about the state's climate action framework, feel free to contact me offline. I'm fairly familiar with it. Let's go ahead and move on to our discussion items. We have some guests with us today from the League of Women Voters who have joined us in the past and shared a public comment related to an idea of having a sustainability fair around to celebrate Earth Day, and they're considering having this fair actually next year in 2023, and are looking for some ideas and feedback from this commission, and possibly a motion of support for the sustainability fair that the commission could make to the council and to the city. So I'll go ahead and let the folks that are here from the league introduce yourself if you would like, Carolyn, Donna, and Susan. So why don't you go ahead and just briefly introduce yourself and maybe give a little bit of an overview. I don't know which one of you wants to kind of do the main presentation, but go ahead and give a little bit of an overview of what you're hoping to do and what you would like from the commissioners.
Great. Thanks, everyone. I'm Donna Drummond. I'll take the lead. I'm a board member with the League of Women Voters Richfield, and with us tonight on this call are Carolyn Engeldinger, who is a former member of the Sustainability Commission, but is a member of our league and also is a member of our Sustainability Committee working on this idea, and also Susan Rosenberg, who is the president of the League of Women Voters Richfield. We did come to the Sustainability Commission back at your December meeting, but we realized there's a number of new commissioners. So I want to just kind of go over this idea and then seek some feedback from you all about it. Our idea is to have a one-day event, a sustainability fair with exhibitors, where people could come, community members could come, business owners could come and get information on how to reduce their individual household or business carbon footprint in order to actively combat climate change and live more sustainably. So as Amanda said, we're kind of targeting April of 2023. We're hoping this gives us plenty of time to get organized, and also hopefully the pandemic will have died down by that time and we can, everybody can gather safely or feel comfortable gathering for an in-person event like this. So we're thinking about April as Earth Day is in that month. And the types of exhibitors we're thinking of would be everything from electric vehicles and solar energy, recycling, composting and compostable products, home energy efficiency, walking, biking, transit, low waste packaging and products, water conservation, sustainable yard maintenance, landscaping, rain gardens, could be health and wellness topics, green home remodeling, organic gardening, sustainable eating. I mean, there's all sorts of ideas that we're kind of tossing around, and we think there'd be a lot of interest in this, that we have a sense that people are interested in these topics and don't always know where to go to get information. So this would be kind of a one-stop shop for people to check out things that they're interested in. We have started on a list of possible vendors or exhibitors and would love to get some suggestions and ideas from you all. We also would love to partner with the city on this event. We're thinking that for the city's support, it would be being listed obviously as a partner would give us a lot more credibility with potential exhibitors. And also the city has a lot of resources for marketing. So kind of getting the word out, maybe helping with some marketing materials. And then also since the time I communicated with Amanda and Rachel about this, a couple of us went to the high school and excuse me, and talked to the facilities people there. And really the high school would be the perfect place to have an event like this. We're thinking of it would be like a Saturday from potentially 10 to 3, something like that. And I don't know how many of you have been to the high school, but they did some remodeling over the last few years. And as you go into the main entrance from the parking lot, there's a huge, beautiful light-filled atrium that would be perfect to set up tables and where people could just come in and not have to kind of find another location like a gym or something to go to. It would be all right there. And the facilities people at the high school were very encouraging, very welcoming. The cost is quite reasonable and would even be better if the city was a partner with us. Another key factor would be that they require liability insurance. And if the city is a partner with us, then the city's liability coverage would handle the event. So we wouldn't need to go out and get additional insurance for the event. So really, we're thinking that obviously there'd be some work in lining up exhibitors and communicating with them. I think we would probably charge a modest fee to exhibitors, and that could help cover the cost of renting the high school. We have talked about this idea with the mayor, and she is a member of the league also, and was very excited about the idea and supportive. So at this point, looking for your general reactions to this idea, and also if you have ideas for vendors or exhibitors that we can contact. And also it'd be terrific to get a motion of support or some kind of a recommendation to the council to be a partner with us in this event. So I think, I don't know, Susan, if you have anything to add, or Carolyn, love to, if I missed anything, let me know.
No, I think you covered it really well, Donna, and I think I don't have really anything else to add. It's just I think because of with composting, I know Rachel gets questions. I know when I'm out in groups with people, and I mean, there's always questions. There's always a need to know more, and I think this sustainability fair could be an answer to help with some of those questions. And especially if we get exhibitors or get people that have knowledge. And I know Amanda and Jeremy talks about being master composters. I mean, there's so many questions that people have in the general public that they could just answer really quickly and that sort of thing. So anyway, that's what it's just a general education event that I think is would really be accepted and really be interesting to most of the people in the city of Richfield and the surrounding area. So I'm really excited about this, and I'd really like to have the support and the participation from folks like you here in the Sustainability Commission, because I think you guys are the, kind of what we're looking towards, that have some of the answers that we're going to be out there looking for. So I'd be interested to hear what you say.
Thank you so much, Donna and Susan, for sharing that. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff here to consider. I think in the interest of time, we might try to tackle a couple things right now. So the first is that I just want to ask Rachel if you have any immediate response to the question of whether the city could be a partner for something like this.
Yeah.
And let's start there.
Yeah, that's a good place to start. I think yes, with the caveat that of course I cannot speak for the specific parts of liability insurance right now. Like, this part of it will have to be a conversation with our city attorney for that kind of stuff. But as a general partner and supporting this effort, and finding exhibitors and all that sort of stuff, and working on marketing however we can, yes, I as a city representative feel comfortable supporting this. Just let's talk about the insurance stuff offline. I just have never had to deal with that before, so it'll just be a process. But yeah.
No,
yeah.
Maybe if I
Sorry, Donna, you're good.
Yeah, if I could just add, it sounded like it was sort of a, if the city's involved with this event, then we don't need to worry about that, was basically.
Sure. Yeah, I just, obviously that's above my pay grade to sign off on that. So let me just, bring up that conversation as we go forward with the right people. I don't foresee it being a problem, but again, it's not my call to make. So besides the little details like that, like we've talked about before, I think this is a great idea, and happy to help how we can.
Great, thanks, Rachel. And just in the interest of time, it sounds like one of the things that the league would like from the commissioners is, you know, a list of exhibitor ideas, and I bet everyone has a lot of great ideas for who might, you know, be good to participate in something like this as a vendor or an exhibitor. So what I think that we should do there, what Rachel and I think might be a good idea, is for folks to be thinking about that and follow up via email to Rachel. And then Rachel can work on compiling all those ideas. And then that's something that she can share back with the league. Because, you know, I can think of off the top of my head, like a bunch of different ideas for, you know, who could be at the sustainability fair, and I bet the rest of you could as well. So that's a homework assignment, and Rachel will send a reminder out with the notes that we'll be looking for that over the next month. And then finally, I think, you know, it sounds like what the league folks are asking for is a motion of support. So what I would suggest is we take a moment now to see if anybody has any questions or comments. Any of the commissioners have any questions or comments that you want to make right now? And then after we have that bit of discussion, that I'll call for a motion to support the idea of having a sustainability. So first, questions or comments from any of the commissioners?
The only comment that I really have is I wish we were doing that this April instead of April 2023. I think it's a great idea, and you know, so many people have so many questions, and to have a place where a lot of those things can be answered, understanding, you know, electric vehicles and organic gardening and all that. It's a great idea.
Antoine?
Sorry, I think it's also an excellent idea, and I was just wondering if within the folks here, if there can be a minor, smaller task group that can take a little bit more leadership on this. So for example, right off the bat, you know, my thought is, why can't this event itself be more sustainable? So instead of asking the vendors to just pay a fee, can we also say that you also need to be part of the Richfield community calendar to teach a class on it so it actually goes out to more people? So just some additional thoughts on how to not be a blip, but to have some, you know, further on sort of waves of impact, a longer term impact as a result of this. And then, of course, the second thing is we commissioners know there are so many local people who can be sources and give them visibility, not just to organizations who want to step up and say, hey, I'm an expert on this and I'm willing to be introduced as someone who can be reached out. So I know I don't want to take up too much time. I just think that Rachel has a lot on her plate, and this would be a fun thing to do. We will obviously keep totally Rachel involved. We will not make decisions without Rachel's involvement, but this would be something that would be fun for the average, you know, us citizens to pull together and help the league out.
I appreciate that. You know, more than happy to help with planning and obviously make connections that commissioners might not have, but I appreciate the idea. And I think subgroups is something that we'll talk about with the 2022 brainstorming, because that's been brought up before. So I appreciate that as well.
Are there any other thoughts or comments, Ben?
Yeah, I was just gonna make a quick comment. I think if I'm remembering right, it is one of the items for potentially a 20 even this year, but that I wonder, one thing we've talked about before is like creating more like readily available resources for people just at any time going forward. And so I wonder if, similar to what Santuano was saying, whether it's another class or even just like if we are creating a resource guide, maybe we ask the exhibitors to like write a half page that could get added to the resource guide about whatever topic you're presenting on, or somehow leveraging this kind of event into an ongoing resource as well.
I think you're alluding to Jeremy's idea of the digital
Sustainability booklet.
Yeah, exactly. Which I think is, right on.
Any other thoughts or comments?
I just wanted to say that I recall when the Sustainability Commission first launched, and we were talking those first 6-7 months about what we as a commission wanted to do. And one of the things that we had talked about several times was the possibility of doing a fair like this on sustainability. The thing that deterred us at that time was that was right at the very beginning of this pandemic. And at that was before we even had vaccinations or anything. And it's been a long 2 years, as we all know, of trying to get through this thing and not knowing when we were going to be able to put on an event like that where people were brought in and indoors. And so this has been something that's been discussed on this commission from the very beginning. I'm just very delighted to hear that this new commission is as excited about the possibility of doing this as we had been back at the very beginning. I think as a part of the subcommittee with the league on this, the task force, we definitely welcome your participation in putting this on and your ideas. We're not expecting heavy lifting from you. Probably if you were able to put time in on the day of the event, we could certainly use your help with that. But I think we're going to be picking your brains and getting your expertise and your opinion on what we're doing. It shouldn't be a big, heavy lift for you time-wise. But I think we're really delighted with your response to our plan, to our vision for this.
Thanks, Carolyn. It sounds like we've already got some interest on the commission, so might have some volunteers. All right. Well, I'd like to go ahead and ask for a motion to, I guess, a motion for the Sustainability Commission to support Richfield hosting a sustainability fair in 2023. Do I have a motion?
I move the motion for Richfield to have a sustainability fair in 2023.
Thanks, Antoine. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Who's that? Is that Adam? Who said that?
Craig, I think, or Logan. Craig or Logan? Logan.
Same. I think it's Logan.
Logan. I knew
It's
it.
Logan.
All right.
Okay. I can't wait to tell where the voices are coming from.
I can third it. How about that?
Well, all in favor, go ahead and say aye and raise your hand. All in favor? Aye. Looks like that's everyone. Anyone opposed?
Yeah.
None opposed. Jeremy, I saw your hand go up for the ayes, so I'm counting that as an aye. So it is unanimous. The motion is passed unanimously. League, you have your motion of support from the Sustainability Commission. So we're excited to partner with you on this.
Thank you. Just to clarify, this is Ben can correct me if I'm wrong, but I do not believe that this is something that needs a council recommendation. So I think this is where it'll stop with the motion of support. But as you know, you have council support as well. So
thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks for joining us this evening. We really appreciate it.
We appreciate the time and look forward to getting your ideas for exhibitors. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much. This is a big step for us. Thank you.
Well, we'll go ahead and move along. I don't think we have a lot of time to spend this evening on this item, but we did want to at least briefly touch this month back on a discussion that we had in January about work plan ideas for 2022. So Rachel, do you want to pull up that graphic or do you want me?
yeah, so I actually did type it out. What do you think, Amanda, since you're the only one who's seen both of them? Would you prefer a bulleted list or a graphic?
I like the graphic unless
All
you
right,
change
sounds
something
good.
about it.
No, I
It's
literally
easy
just typed them into a list.
visually see.
Yeah,
So.
let me grab that here. So we went through an exercise with in December, I believe, with the commissioners for brainstorming 2022 projects, as well as talking about ones that were already on the work plan. Is this an okay size? Because I think it might show up a little differently for you all than it does for me. So please let me know if it's too small and I can zoom in. Otherwise, I'm just going to assume it's okay. Great.
That's fine.
Okay, thank you. So at the top, you'll see the existing projects that are already on the 2022 list. It doesn't necessarily mean they're happening in 2022, as we've just discussed with the sustainability fair that's on here, and community gardens as well. Some of these are ongoing. And then the brainstorming on the bottom is from the previous commission members, as well as Amanda and Jeremy, of course. For things that the commissioners were interested in, seeing the commission tackle in the future, whether that was this year or in the future as well. Some of these overlap. There's a lot of like community cleanup kind of stuff. And you can see in the bottom right, the themes of hosting events, sharing educational resources, policy, and then focusing on land and natural resources. So this is, this will be sent out to all commissioners for review. But I think now that we have, the majority of a new commission as well, I think it would be beneficial to kind of go back to this next month and kind of take stock of what you all as new commissioners think of these ideas, and if you have other ones as well, so that, you're helping create the work plan for this year, and we're not, as great as the previous commissioners were, we're not just going based off of their ideas for your term as commissioners. So I think we'll kind of have to do this next month. Obviously, I wasn't really planning on doing it this month, but I wanted to share these ideas, and I'll send the list out as well. So just, absorb these, I guess, and start thinking, in addition to exhibitors, start thinking over the next month of what you would like to do as a commission member this year, whether that's, co-signing onto these ideas that are already here, or just bringing your own, and we'll kind of do a brainstorming part 2 session. I can briefly talk about how some of these align with our existing city goals and my work plan as well. And this is kind of going back to that subgroup aspect. If there are events or topics or projects that commissioners want to take on that especially don't need staff involvement as much or at all, we definitely encourage. I think we're going to try and start moving to a model where commissioners are leading projects more, because that helps you all work on projects, and it also helps me not get involved in every single thing, which, as everybody knows, I have a pretty full work plan. So that being said, we do have things in our climate action plan that I can also go over next month. I've been going back to our 2021 and 2022 actions now that organized collection is, in a better spot, and I'm able to focus more on general sustainability work plan ideas. So just briefly, this year, obviously continuing our partners in energy implementation, always continuing solid waste education and everything that comes along with organized collection. And then, like I said, our climate action plan as well. If you haven't seen that, I know that I said I'll include that in the email I send out to all commissioners. It is on the city website as well. And some of the brainstorming ideas tie into a lot of those things, especially with landscaping, tree planting, educational resource sharing, all these kinds of things are already things that the city wants to do. So it's nice to hear that commissioners also had an interest in doing those. In the top right green square on the bottom, you see that digital booklet idea that we were just mentioning. That was Jeremy's idea. He can definitely elaborate more on that next month if we need to, but you already see these ideas corresponding with one another. No Monet is on there, which has already been brought up tonight, which will need a more elaborate discussion on in the future, and things like that. So I can give updates or feedback on any of these things right now, but I think that's just kind of a general overview that we might want to leave the bulk of the brainstorming till next month, unless there are questions right now or something like that.
Yeah, thanks, Rachel. Yeah, and I misspoke. I'm sorry. This was something that we did do in December before any of the new commissioners had a chance to participate. So, yeah, I guess to Rachel's point, does anyone have any clarifying questions about what any of these topics might mean, so they can be thinking about that over the next month?
Do we have funding for
As
so many?
the commission?
Yeah, so for example, you know, plant plants, trees. Do we have, as just the Sustainability Commission, have its own budget or funding?
No, so I can't speak for every commission, but from my experience, city commissions don't have their own budget. And personally, we're also working on identifying any sort of sustainability budget for staff stuff. So once there is more of an established sustainability budget, if there needed to be funds used for commission events or something like that, I believe it would come out of there. But the commission itself does not have a budget. That's, you know, I know you and I have talked about this, but that's obviously where, you know, we are trying to work on more grants and things like that to put on, you know, for example, tree planting events. We do a lot with Tree Trust and things like that. So there's no budget, but that doesn't mean, you know, that the city doesn't have money to put towards sustainability things. If a mailer needed to be done for a certain event or supplies needed to be purchased or something like that, it's, you know, it's just a conversation between commissioners and staff.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else have any questions about what some of these ideas mean?
I guess just one question, and sorry, is for as it relates to some of those like sustainability related policies and tied to city ordinances and influencing and coming up with potential recommendations. Is there, and maybe this isn't something for right now, but for next month when we come back to it, is there like what is the scope and like what are the expectations for the commission and specifically those policy related areas? What's the rules of the road or like kind of the guide rails that we generally operate in before we're too crazy or being too conservative in anything that we're trying to talk about?
It's a really good question, Logan. Just as a first point, I believe that was more for a review of existing city code and policies. So for example, like the native landscaping code or the code that relates to raising chickens in the city, stuff like that, and reviewing those to make sure that they're, you know, good, like helping achieve the goals of those objectives in a, you know, and making sure that we're able to have sustainable policies that are easy to follow and, you know, things like that. So whether that's like the grass height, you know, that we operate with in the city or anything like that. I don't think it's necessarily like, oh, what code can we write for the city, you know, that kind of thing. It's more of a review. How can we improve what we have? But in general, the way that code stuff happens with the commission is, you know, let's say there's a section of code that's under review. You know, it would go through discussion and, you know, the motion to make a recommendation to council on code revisions. And then I would take that to council as staff and say, you know, here's what these, we would go through a whole behind the scenes process first. We write a staff report and all that kind of stuff. If you know, the code changes are also agreed to by staff and work for all departments involved and things like that. You know, and then it would go to the council at a council meeting and goes through, I believe, 2 separate readings and all that sort of stuff. But that box specifically is for review of existing ordinances. In my experience, that's mostly what staff do. It's not really a ton of writing new ordinances right now. It's kind of revising what we have to make sure it works for where we're at.
I'm sorry. I just have another really quick question, hopefully. Where do we voice our concern about sustainability with the Planning Commission? So we have, for example, the multi-storied buildings. Just so you know, I'm a proponent of high density housing because I do think that has a lesser of an environmental footprint. At the same time, where can we give input to say that in terms of the landscape that these high rises are putting out, that so much of the land, the coverage needs to be like this, the plants, trees that are used need to be contributing to sustainability as opposed to, as Ava said, being purely ornamental, et cetera, et cetera. So we have a liaison from another commission in this group. So is there a clear path of this group to probably one of the most important ones in terms of environment, and that would be the Planning Commission?
Yeah, the Planning Commission or the developments go through a review process where staff provide comments on, like, it's my job to provide comments on the landscaping for developments and things like that. And that's an internal review process. We are, and this is probably something that we'll have to talk more about in the future, both after the commissioner orientation and also just to kind of go more in depth on how recommendations get over for developments. I believe in general, the Sustainability Commission, commissions make recommendations to each other on projects, like sometimes transportation and planning or talking about, projects or things like that. In general, the Sustainability Commission has not commented on other commissions' efforts, I don't think. Just because there hasn't been a ton of overlap, but I would have to see what the official process is, if that would include like the commission motioning to make a comment on something, or if that would have to still be something like, obviously you as a resident are able and more than welcome to make comments in that entity, but as a commission, we'd have to kind of look into that process. But I also think, Ben, you were going to say something and you might have more insight on that.
Yeah, I was going to comment to the last piece, which I'll circle back to, but to that specific one, I would love to see and plan to bring up with the council during strategic planning, like how does sustainability become more, both because it should and also because we can do more when Rachel's not the only staff person, and she's not, but she's the main one. Like how do we integrate this more into what other departments and other efforts are doing? For now, I think certainly, like if you if you want to attend planning commission meetings and like give public comment and say like I'm a sustainability commission member, I think this should happen. Like I think that's really worth it. But we don't yet have more process to interrelate. The other piece I was going to say is just to the question about policy. I think what Rachel said is usually true. It is not impossible or unheard of or like wrong to be thinking about if there is like a policy that doesn't exist yet that you would like to see. But just know, and this was one of the things I had to learn, writing a new policy takes a lot of staff capacity.
Revising existing code takes a lot of staff capacity.
Right. But so like
anything with code.
The tree preservation policy, though, is one that came from community members, from the commission, and then got some initial like interest from the council, which isn't like a formal process, but in our check-ins with the city manager, there was enough interest that that now it's moving forward through the Sustainability Commission. But just to say that it's not unheard of, but takes a little bit more of a few more hurdles to jump over first before a brand new policy starts getting explored.
Yeah. And also lastly on developments, there obviously are code and zoning requirements for things like you know, parking spaces and landscaping, you know, green space required versus asphalt or whatever. So some of that stuff is laid out in our zoning code. And obviously there are variances and things like that, but some of that stuff, you know, I'd wish there were a million trees, and sometimes it's not always the easiest thing to put together some of these suggestions and make sure that they work with all the other aspects of a development, unfortunately. But that doesn't mean that there's not room for improvement, and there's definitely always room for suggestions, especially when it comes to landscaping and things like that.
Great. Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks everyone. So again, this is another kind of homework item, but Rachel will send around that list. And between now and next meeting, we would just really encourage you to take a look at it, see if there's something that's missing from there that would be a high priority to you, or you know, otherwise, you know, try to think about what your highest couple of priorities are from that list, and maybe you know, when we talk about this next, we can do a little brainstorming / prioritization, just so that there's sort of an idea from the commission of where our highest priorities lie. Well, let's go ahead and move on. We do have an action item this evening in the hopes of getting a new secretary. Rachel has been doing double duty of trying to
Well, actually, Roxanne has, but I will be tomorrow when I rewatch this meeting and write all the minutes.
Right. So at least it's recorded for you then.
Yeah, exactly. So basically a secretary's role is to fill in a pre-made template that we use for minutes. And it just keeps record of what we talk about during the meeting, motions that are made. Obviously these documents live on the website, are available for public record and things like that. I can send her on the template, I guess, you know, if anyone would like to see that before they commit to it. It's really easy. You write down when we start the meeting, who's present, what we've talked about, and I can send her on some examples as well. It might be something that we have to motion on next month as well, Amanda, because I didn't send those out ahead of time. So.
Well, actually, there's an example that's attached to the agenda that you sent around.
Well, that's the finished minutes. But if you wanted to see the bare minimum of stuff you have to fill in to know that this is not a strenuous position, I can send the template out too. So either way, it doesn't matter if we have a motion on it this meeting or not. But if someone knows that they're willing to volunteer, at least give it a shot.
Well, and I'll just add to clarify, these aren't minutes like a courtroom. You're not typing word for word.
No,
you know, even when if or when we're back in person and there's not a recording to go back to, you know, these are just high level notes to capture what happened
exactly
through the meeting, what ideas came up, and what follow-up action items we said that we would do, and that staff would said that they would go back and do. So yeah, so I guess, well, I'll just kind of we'll try an initial call this month for self-nominations, and if we don't get any, then maybe sit with it and we'll try again next month. But I will go ahead and ask if anyone would like to self-nominate for the position of secretary. Antoine, see your hand up. Is there anybody else that wanted to self-nominate? All right. Well, in that case, what we'll do now is, you know, we have to do an election. So I think that we can start with the self-nomination is the original motion.
Yeah,
Can you help me out a little with the
yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know if there's a super strict process for this, but if you just want to audibly motion to nominate yourself, and then we can all, well, you guys can all vote on it, and then I think we're good.
Yeah, I think we might do a second.
I'm just blown away. No, there's no one else is stepping. I mean, so
it's a coveted role. What can I say?
I nominate myself as the secretary.
Great.
I'm willing to take minutes, and if you trust me, Rachel, I'm happy to do this.
100%. Yeah, so like I said,
I can get the audio for it, and I'll send the draft to you for your review.
No problem.
Great. And do we have a second to nominate Santwana secretary?
I'll second.
Adam seconds or Logan seconds?
Adam pointed, but I think Logan did.
Right.
We have a second. Don't
Correct.
worry.
We have a second. All in favor, say aye and raise your hand. Aye.
Aye.
Great.
Congratulations, Santwana. You are our new secretary, and thank you for volunteering.
Thank you, Santwana.
You're
Much
welcome.
appreciated.
You're welcome.
Adam's like, as long as I don't have to take the minutes.
Done it before, and it is not a strength of mine. So
No
I
problem.
appreciate
No problem.
anybody who will do it.
All good.
All right, we're gonna take a few minutes to kick it over to Jenna so that we can get our Community Services Commission update.
All right. Well, things are slow, but they're going to pick up a lot very soon. A couple of recaps. There was the second annual ice festival at Taft a couple weeks ago. It was really cold weather, but there were still 150 people that attended. People had a lot of fun, and there were a lot of prizes and donations and giveaways for participants who went there. So if you didn't hear about it, it was ice fishing and bonfires and I think hot chocolate on the lake at Taft. And then there was also a candlelight walk at Wood Lake a couple weeks ago as well. Those are always well attended. And one thing, the summer positions are listed. So like lifeguards, there's some of the park, I forget what the title is, but for the elementary age kids, it's a free program where they get to spend time at the park with a staff, someone watching over them. Those positions are available. And this summer, since hiring is hard everywhere, the city is offering $100 signing bonus, and then also $100 after the summer has ended. So if you know of anyone who might be interested in those positions, definitely let them know about that. And then also the summer or spring summer program guide just went out. So in that you'll see the kids camps at Wood Lake. There's lots of family activities at Wood Lake too. The concert schedule for the band shell is up, so that's pretty exciting. Senior programming, and then the free summer playground programs, which I mentioned earlier. So definitely take a look at that. That's on the website, or if you get the Richfield recap email, it was on today's email as well.
Thanks, Jenna. Did anyone have any questions for Jenna? All right, well, just a quick reminder that next month's meeting, March 24th, it will still be virtual, but it will be at 7:30. It says 7 p.m. on the agenda. 7:30, don't forget to attend the commissioner training just before from 6:30 to 7:30, also virtually. That's one of the great things about virtual is no commute time between those two meetings. So. Any other questions, comments, jokes for the good of the order? All right, let's go ahead and take a motion to adjourn the meeting. Do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I move to motion to adjourn.
Adam moves to adjourn. Do we have a second?
I second the motion. Craig
that Logan?
seconds the motion.
Craig. Craig
We'll get your
seconds the
voices
motion.
soon,
I
don't
know,
worry.
I'm still learning. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, the meeting is adjourned.